Massaba's in the middle. Wednesday here could seal it. Casimir finds Masaba.
It's now Bannon. Bannon with a great ball in. Here's an opportunity. Palmer scores! Liam Palmer has scored for Sheffield Wednesday.
Protests, balloons and a march through Hillsborough Park. Couple that with an average game of football and what is perhaps, and in some cases most certainly, the last time we'll be seeing some of the current crop at Hillsborough. Hello and welcome to Wednesday Till I Die podcast. I'm James Mappin. Alongside me, as he always is Mr. Matt Johnson. Matt, how's things? All good?
Yeah, not too bad, James. Not too bad. I've spent far too long trying to wash blue dye out of a corduroy shirt. And out my beard. That was the other thing I didn't realise. I had it all in my beard. So yeah, it's been a fun day.
Do you know what that was? That was pretty funny because you said, didn't you, before, like, I don't want to be turning up. Obviously, we went out last night after the match. You're like, I don't want to be going out looking like one of the Simpsons, obviously with a yellow pyro, but you end up looking like one of the Smurfs instead.
Oh, man, it's fucking ridiculous as well. It literally got to the park. As I said to you and a couple of people yesterday, I turned around and there was a group of about, I know there were secondary school age kids, like 100%. And I saw him pull this like pyro thing, like the smoke flare out of his pocket. And I went, I literally said to him, don't you set that off anywhere near me. And he was like, all right, mate, all right. 30 seconds later, just all up my back. I was like, what is that? Put my hand on my neck and just went, oh no.
I mean, there is a great photo that I took of you, isn't there? That I put on, or you put on your socials, and I retweeted it early. So just go on our at WTID pod on X, and you'll find it. And then who was it? Andy in the Discord that changed it to a fantastic photo of Braveheart, which
unbelievable, and it was so quick as well.
Yeah,
like it was instantaneous. Like I don't think I was even halfway across Hillsborough Park before he'd sorted it.
Yeah,
outstanding,
great stuff. I also want to say as well, massive thanks to everyone that came to Heist yesterday after the game. I know it's a bit of a trek into Kelham Island, but to see quite a few of you down there, that was brilliant, putting faces to names and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll certainly be doing it. Well, put it this way, it won't be another year until we do another one. We might do one at some point.
James,
early next season.
Sorry to interrupt, James. Just on that, before we move on, I can't forget because I had a conversation with Will yesterday. You come down and he asked me a belting quiz question. Absolute cracker. Who was the last non-Premier League team to win the FA Cup? For context of this, we were just watching Crystal Palace celebrate a 3-0 victory over Aston Villa, which for every non-Birmingham City or anybody who lives in Birmingham who doesn't support either of the two teams, what a weekend it's been. But yeah, do you know who it is? Because I was absolutely stumped by this.
I've no idea. I mean, how far back are we talking? What?
1980. 1980.
I don't know, was it Wimbledon? Did Wimbledon ever win it back then?
It does begin with W and London, so you're warm.
It's got to be Watford then.
Oh, no.
Which one is it then? West Ham. All right. Okay. Yeah.
Will would have left me there for a good 20 minutes, like trying to wrap my brains to it. So I am really pleased he told me at the end.
There we go. Trivia question number one knocked off on the pod earlier. Let's just do a quiz rather than talking about all the other stuff that we've got to talk about. Should we just do a quiz instead? Could be far more enjoyable, to be fair. But no, we have got a lot to talk about. The minutes, which came out of the blue. Didn't really expect them to be coming out before this game. Obviously, the protests that we've kind of touched on. MPs have come out as well with a statement. There is a game of football which we might vaguely touch on. Windas, Palmer, there's loads of things that we're going to talk about. So, do get all your comments coming in the chat as well. I can see Certified 1867. Cheers for the can of Estrella yesterday, James. No problem. That's fine. I couldn't manage 4. So, help me out massively there. Stephen said, hate not knowing who is staying. This needed sorting weeks ago so we can give the players who are going a good send-off. It would be nice. But that's just not how it works. Like, we do kind of drag his heels and what have you, and it does take a while. So I know what you're saying. We seem to have a lot of players at the moment that have played quite a lot for Wednesday. Patos, Palmers, Bannon, Windas, and yeah, you'd love to give them send off that they deserve. I mean, I know Windas got a nice round standing ovation when he was subbed and then subsequently not subbed. So maybe we just do that. I should have just done that a few times.
That was funny. That was very funny.
Matt says, evening. We've got Tony. Evening, lads. In case one of the family might be watching, Chancery out. Andy said the minutes were a joke and clearly doctored by the DC mob. Let's talk about those said minutes then, if we can. I mean, like I said, I didn't think they were going to be coming out so soon. So let's credit where credit's due. 10 days after the meeting had finished. I think the last ones were 25 days. I know obviously this was kind of out in the public domain, so I suppose a lot of people were asking for them, whereas previously nobody would be. So I guess everyone kind of wanted its release just to get everyone off the back more than anything, to be fair. But we've read them, all 11 pages of them. First of all, kind of what did you make to them? I'll start. I mean, I learned absolutely nothing. I'm being perfectly honest. I mean, all the questions were dodged in some way, shape, or form. One thing that struck me, Matt, was once again it was up for a fight, and you could see that straight from the literally the opening paragraph. Kind of when it gets into it, it says that the chair thanked Dejphon Chansiri for arranging this meeting, and then the first thing he says is, "I didn't arrange it. It was you. You arranged it." And I'm like, that is, do you know what I mean? Straight away, he's trying to be like at people, like as if he's angry all the time. I mean, I know, again, it's like the whole reading the text message out of context and stuff, and we're literally just reading minutes, but knowing what he's like, I presume that's kind of how it would be. But it was just there to tell everyone his side of the story, and everyone else was wrong, and it was just full of excuses rather than kind of a plan moving forward and actual answers. Just full of excuses for me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Very much similar, James. I thought it was pretty much business as usual. It's everybody else's fault but his. He wants people to come up with a strategy of how to take the club forward, but we know he doesn't actually want that unless you're going to invest. And on that point, because he does come on to that later, and I know we're going to touch on a lot of stuff that come up from these minutes. My question from that is, why would you invest? Like, why would you invest in this football club at present? Because you're not investing in the football club. With Chansiri there, you're investing in him, and he can't run a bath. He's a control freak who micromanages everything, including the signing off of basic orders for the day-to-day running of a football club. So whilst he is at the club, it's an attractive proposition to purchase. I completely agree with all of the sentiments surrounding that. And, we're sort of going to touch on potentially some Simon Jordan stuff as well. But if you're investing in him, that's business suicide with the way that the club currently operates and his desire to control every single aspect of it, from narrative to biro orders. Like, it's nonsense. And the other thing is, James, I suppose from it is, it's caused more division again amongst, and this time it was 14 groups who were involved in that. Some agree, some don't agree, some sign off on the minutes, some don't. The club have used it all, and Chansiri, credit where it's due, has been very clever in the wording about the sign off from all groups. And we know at least one group who didn't sign off of it in the trust, because they came out and said, they said, this is something that we're not happy with. And we're just back around again, going at blaming everybody, fans going at one another, figureheads of organisations sending indirect messages or direct messages at one another. And it's all playing out on socials and in chats and all the rest of it. And it's really sad because it's just so predictable. But again, you've got... I can't.
But it detracts from the bigger picture every single time, doesn't it? The bloke is an absolute clown. Do you know what I mean? Like the issue is him at the top, and the way that he's running the club, and the way that he's the mismanagement of the club from everything. Really, like honestly, you couldn't tell me many things that he's actually done right, and if you could, I could give you 10 times more of those that he's done wrong, if you know what I mean. So I'm sure some people will come at me and go, new scoreboard, Deso pitch, Jordan Rhodes. Do you know what I mean? All these other, all these things. Ikugbo. Like, he'll come. I'm sure people will say all these things, but I can give you so many more that don't, that of all the bad that he's done.
Yep.
Ticket prices, the way that he talks to fans, customers.
Yep.
Not paying wages, not paying tax bills, calling out fans to pay said tax bill. Honestly, he is the problem, and he's just. I feel like it's like a boxing match. Obviously, we went to watch the boxing yesterday. Look, there was no knockout, but it's like he's going down. He's swinging, and fortunately for him, he's actually landing a few punches as he's going down, because we're not all in it together as we should be, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree, because again, both me and you are outside looking in, like many people, because we're not on that panel. When we're not involved in the conversation, we only see what is given out in terms of the meeting minutes, and the same as everybody else, you hear whispers and you hear messages and bits and pieces, because I think I re-quoted something from Chef Cam, which was the Clinton Baptiste thing from Phoenix Nights, where he goes, "I'm getting the word redacted," and I was just like, that is absolutely outstanding, and I think it did do the numbers that it deserved to do yesterday. But I just read it and was just like, this is the whole thing. Is there's no way anybody, any sane or relatively sane Sheffield Wednesday fan can come out of that and go, he's coming out of this with some credit. Because the other thing that was then, there was a lot of people who were very clear from those meeting minutes, did not want to move off the initial point. Just didn't want to move off so what is the plan?
Yeah.
There was basically, from my understanding of reading those minutes, there was 3 questions. There was pretty much 3 questions that anybody wanted to ask. First one was, what's the plan? Second was about intentions of selling. And then the third was, are you willing or open to actually having a conversation surrounding the sale of the club? So it's like a follow-up question. The bottom of the meeting minutes is stuff to do with like safe standing, which is of course going to shit, because
E-bars.
And E-bars as well.
Yeah.
And you sit and you just go, I am almost convinced, and I don't speak for anybody on that engagement panel, but I definitely don't speak for, I can only speak for myself here. No one gives a shit. Like, at this point in time, genuinely, we have got bigger problems. Like, we've got, and I'm all for improving wider things around the stadium and making the match day experience much, much better. But currently, we don't get the basics or the fundamentals right.
Talk about getting basics and fundamentals right. So obviously, we're going out after the match, half time. I never normally go and get anything, and I know some people are going to be saying, "Why are you buying stuff at half time? You're lying in his pocket." I needed some food. I was like, I'm going out, I'm lying my stomach. Thought, no, I'm going to get a pie. Went down, got in the queue, and I'm not looking. And then you kind of look behind the counter, thinking, they look pretty bare, them, where the pies usually are. It's a bit empty, that. But anyway, I went up to the front and said, have you got any pies, love? No, sold out. It was literally, we were 5 minutes into half time. Yeah. And I was like, I mean, nobody. I suppose not. Maybe nobody buys them anyway. So what's the point in having them? But
maybe they didn't.
Just simple things. Just simple things like just having
Agreed.
some pies.
Maybe they're right, James, as well, that they're not going to replenish stock for it being the last home game. Maybe it's just as simple as that. The problem is, this has been, and if it was a one-off, I would agree. Like, if it was a one-off, I'd go, do you know what? It don't really matter. It's the last home game. I get it. Like, no problem. It's been happening since like October, like this type of crap. So it's fundamentally down to, and because we know the way in which that the club is run, because again we get little snippets, and you can only piece together, because obviously the Great Wall of Silence comes down from Hillsborough, and obviously you never know actually what's going on, but you do hear pockets from either what people will speak about online, or people inside the club, or parents of people who work at the club, or journalists will catch a story. We know this is just to do with the chairman has to sign everything off. And that is just absolutely mental for a bloke who spends the majority of his time not here.
He's not even here now.
No, and that was it. If he was here and he'd moved and everything was in Sheffield 7 days a week, I'd still think they're micromanaging, but I'd go, well, you're on top of it at least. I know
you can't micromanage from the other side of the world, can you, really?
No, you can't. No.
It's just not happening. I mean, Dave says, I haven't had a pie there for years. Are they still bad? Dave, I don't know. I didn't get one.
I did, Dave, because they've got hot water on the side, so I got the blue off my face, and also managed to get a pie at half time. I had a steak and Endo's one. He was all right. was all right. Nothing special. West Brom's is still the best pie this year. Chicken.
I thought they only did prawn sandwiches over there.
No. I was too late for that, mate. I was too late for that. That was taken up by a delegation from Thailand, I believe.
All right. Complimentary prawn sandwiches all around, where is it then? Anyway, let's first thing in the minutes is he's got no intention of selling the football club. He's also not willing to offer a valuation of the football club either. And on the Saturday, bear in mind this meeting happened on a Tuesday, Tuesday before. Mm-hmm. So on the Saturday, when he put out that letter, that heartfelt letter of sorry, he didn't want an NDA. On the Tuesday, so we're literally 3 days later, he's happy to sign one. So which one is he signing one or is he not signing one? No idea.
James, this is him in a nutshell. Not a fucking clue. What he actually wants or what he should do, he hasn't got a clue. So nobody else is going to. Like, the difference being now to where we were October, December type of time is where everything was kind of being masked a little bit by everything else. Like in terms of the performances, the team, the feel-good factor of kind of like everything that was happening at that point. The difference being now is that just loads of fans are sick of waiting. Loads of fans are sick of waiting for him to go, oh, do you know what? Today I feel like signing an NDA. Or tomorrow, do you know what? I don't. Like, loads of fans are just sick of it. And also the other thing is, I mean, we've mentioned it a couple of times over this past couple of weeks. Sheffield Wednesday fans will find dirt in a snowstorm. And what we are really, really good at, because we have been dealing with this for 8 years, is we are great at keeping receipts. We are unbelievable at keeping receipts on everything that this person has said. And I suppose when you speak as infrequently as him and the messaging is infrequent, as has just been proven by that, Saturday I don't want to sign an NDA, Tuesday I'm happy to sign an NDA. Like, Wednesday fans can go, hang on, let me just get out me Rolodex of Chansiri 7-hour quotes. Bang! You have been saying this. Oh, but now you've moved. It's just... I
mean, to be fair, someone made a great point and said he's actually right. What he's saying is he's happy to sign one once someone makes a bid. But then the whole point is that you sign this NDA, then you open the book and you go, these are what our plans are. These are what the current contracts are. Everything, the length of contracts, all this. Basically, what he said is they can look at the accounts and they can base the valuation on that. What, them accounts that are at least 8 months old now, and that are pretty vague as well. They're not exactly like, in depth. I think, the lad on the Price of Football, Kieran Maguire, he's come out quite a few times and said that he's, you can put as much or as little in your accounts as you want, and we opt to put as little as possible in there, which is fine. It still satisfies the needs. There's no need to go into war and peace, but then he's expecting someone to formulate a bid at the football club based on said accounts that, as I've mentioned, are 8 months old at least. Like, how are you going to do that? But once you've put a bid in, he'll happily sign an NDA. So
again, James, based off that, it depends on, obviously, kind of from the information that we've put out, it depends on whether you take it as a gospel, whether you take it as a pinch of salt, whatever. From the people who have tried, you can't actually get a conversation started with him surrounding putting a bid in. So it becomes a moot point about signing an NDA because you're never actually going to listen, because he has come out in those minutes. He talks about, someone make me a realistic offer. Well, what is that? What is a realistic offer? Because if you wanted, I don't know, like pie in the sky figure of, 50 to 60 million, which is a realistic offer. I think you're paying over the odds, but it's a realistic, kind of carrot to dangle. He might go, no, it's not realistic.
Yeah, you don't get to shine it. It's like me saying I'll wear a United shirt if Ike Ugbo scores, because we know that's never going to happen. So,
Stop talking about my brave boy like this.
He's actually a year to the day, I think, today, until he last scored a league goal, that one against West Brom in the penultimate game of last season. So, I
feel so. I genuinely, and I know we will come to touch on this when we do season review in a couple of weeks' time and all the rest of it, James. I feel really sorry for him now, because it feels like he's gone through a horrible spell in terms of confidence. I think he's being used to send a message at the minute in terms of, because it is baffling to me that in the last couple of games where we've got absolutely nothing to play for, how this lad hasn't seen some game time. Mental.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Another question that was asked, and obviously was appeared in the minutes, was about sustainability. Once again, Chansiri's come out and he's asking us for ideas on how to make the club more sustainable. When I say us, the 14 people that were on the engagement panel, which I just want to say as well, by the way, props to everyone that did actually attend this meeting, because 6 hours on a Zoom call, listening to him drone on as he does, you need a medal, because I don't, again, I keep mentioning I've sat with him, and it is really draining, and they do this on a semi-regular basis as well. So I suppose they kind of half knew what they were getting themselves in for. So yeah, props to those that actually did sit with him. But when it comes to asking fans for ideas, I get that. It's nice that he's actually offering that up, but he never listens to the ideas anyway. So again, what is the point? It's like deflection tactics all the time. Even and I know I mentioned E-bars earlier, but I think if you read the minutes and someone's asked, can we be credited for the idea of the E-bars, and it's come out and gone, well, actually we had that idea a few months earlier anyway, so it was our idea, not yours. Like you can't even have that.
It's a fucking E-bar. Like, he's not, I mean this nicely, he's not groundbreaking. But on that, if we're talking about sustainability, see, this is how to make it sustainable over the next 12 to 18 months. Here you go, some free information and some free advice from you, Deshbon, from somebody who knows fuck all. Sell Jeddy Gassama the minute the window opens. 8 to 12 million is where you start your bidding. Get him back on loan next year, and then sell Pierce Charles for 6 million quid with a 20% future sell-on fee, and we want him back on loan next year. There is low end 14 million and top end 18 million. More money than we've seen in 8 years to go and get a new coach, potentially, new setup, and 12 new players. Next question. It's not fucking hard. Like, if an idiot like me who was covered in bloody blue paint yesterday can figure this out, surely as a top level businessman, you can figure this out, because again, in those meeting minutes, it was Alistair, not Chansiri, who said this: we are not a selling club. That's nonsense, because you're not a spending club either. So what are we?
Yeah. Drift club. I don't know.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah.
But it even said on there as well, he asked them, who should we have sold? And to be fair, credit to those people on there again. They said it's irrelevant. Like, that's in the past. Like, that's gone. It's irrelevant saying, oh, we should have sold him, whatever, yada, yada, yada. And he come out and said, oh, we sell one player a season. And we sold one player a season before I came. Does that make it all right then? Like,
and the difference being is, irrespective of how little money that those chairmen did, because we've had Brassic chairman for a while, it wasn't financially. It hasn't. I know the club has been close to going to the wall. We're not there yet, I don't think. But the chairman, since that particular incident that happened and people who took it over, like even Lee Strafford, no matter what you think about him, there was still some level of investment in it. Like, there was still some level of investment in players, into a squad. There's nothing. There is literally nothing.
Matt says we are a let all your players leave on a free club. I think he's right there.
And don't get me wrong. That is, I can understand a side to that, because I agree with you, Matt. I think when you put it as bluntly as that, it's fucking ridiculous. But the trade-off to that is, I don't think you get the squad. Like, if you're a constantly rotating and selling players club, I don't think you get the squad harmony and balance and all the rest of it that we've had with players like Ban and like Palmer, like Windas, who want to stick around, not just because we're paying the wages. Yes, that's the main reason, but actually you get this really tight core group of players who did overachieve. And I think if you do become too rotational in the sense of it, you are probably going to lose something there. Even Sunderland, who they go out and sign God knows how many players in a window. Like every single summer they go out, and the first couple of times that they did it, it was like 20 here, 20 there, whatever. They still keep a core, and they keep a core of players around for maybe 3 or 4 years. We just add on to that, and it just gets, it's just ridiculous, isn't it? The whole thing is just, what a mess.
Natalie said, you can't tell me that what we saw in the minutes was all that was discussed in nearly 6 hours. A few people have said it's 5.5 yet. 5.5, 6, could be 7. It's still a long time. There clearly has been a lot redacted. Will we ever know the truth? I don't know. I mean, the other thing as well, obviously minutes are minutes. They're not transcript. They're not, verbatim record of the meeting. So, it is, and again, it was long enough. Was it 11 pages from that? Imagine if it actually was word for word. Jesus Christ, 6 hour transcripts written out. It would be you'd be still reading it now. To be fair, but yeah, well, the only people that know the truth are the 14 people on the supporters groups, Chansiri, and then his lawyer, translator that was there, and Alistair and Trevor, I guess. So they're the only people that will know exactly what was said. And do you know what makes it mad as well? Why is it like Secret Squirrel Club? Why is it all hush hush? And why, they can't say this, they can't. I mean, I don't know. Fans just want to know, but yet we have, in order to know, we have to go through this secret club to find answers out. That's like the only people that he's willing to speak to. Like, when you think it's mental, isn't it? When you think about it, it's absolutely mental.
I do understand what you're saying, and I suppose at a better run club, there wouldn't be such a huge clamour for supporters desperate for news from those particular people who were there, because I suppose a better run club would communicate widely to a fan base. Like, there was the discussion around kind of like this idea of a plan, and like you still don't need to know it. He said the exact same in January. He said the exact same in the engagement panel meeting. It's, until you invest, until you put money in, you don't need to know the plan. Well, correct me if I'm wrong here, James. We all do, because us and the sponsors are currently the only investors. Like, you haven't got anybody else, because you're not putting, you're not like going out and finding them, and you're unwilling to accept it. So using his own logic, you owe us a plan because we're the investors currently. Yeah. Every argument made is just so ridiculous and so tiresome. And I do agree with you, James. It is so bonkers that there is a group of 14 fans, but not 14 fans, sorry, 14 fans groups who are on this and have this, have a fantastic access to a club, because in principle, it's a really, really good idea. And it should be used for, and I really don't mean to be, I really don't want this to come across horribly or negatively to those supporters groups. It should be used for the club to say, how can we help you with the Wednesday week? How can we help you with the Easter egg drop? With the women's supporters group, how can we help you provide access to fans who've never been to a game? What can we do? And I'm sure there is plenty of that goes on. I'm sure there is. However, with how much nonsense is going on at this football club at the minute, every other fan who is not involved in that or not part of those groups or doesn't have a direct line to somebody who sat in those meetings is clinging to those meeting minutes, because that is the only time that the club ever comes out and shares anything, ever. So that is why, and it must be really, I'm not, all of these people are big enough and old enough to speak for themselves. It must be really draining, because the minute you have been on one of those, I can imagine, if, say for argument's sake, you were in that meeting, your phone goes a lot as it is. I don't know how your phone ever has any battery by the end of the fucking day, but that's besides the point.
I just don't reply to anyone, to be fair. So.
just thousands.
Just mark as read and done with it, yeah.
But that must be really exhausting, because the minute you come off that meeting, or people know that you're there, it just must be this, and this. And then anytime you log on to anything, whether that be WhatsApp, social media, whether you go down to see a couple of people or you're out with a couple of people, will come up to you and go, oh, what's going on? And it must be exhausting for them. I am saying all of that to basically say, again, I think we've been guilty of this a lot as Wednesday fans. And I myself, I hold my hands up to it. I've definitely done it. I've spent a lot of time shouting at the wrong people and being angry at the wrong people. And yes, I've always known it's Chansiri, but because I know that the club are so unwilling to cooperate or anything like that, I've never carried on with it. Whereas now, and you saw from kind of like the protest, which I know we're going to come on to, people are clubbing together and finding a voice and demanding answers. And it should be the right thing to do, is to continue to keep pressing the football club to come out with answers.
I said, though, back in January, when he held this fans forum, that was a prime opportunity for people to ask the questions that they want answered and stuff. Obviously, we've moved on since then. It's got worse since then. We've not paid players since then. But I said at that point there, what should have happened was, beforehand, in the week, if he holds it in 2 weeks' time, you've got a week to submit your questions, and then someone goes through those questions and kind of, they're all the same question, these are all the same question, and rewrites the question in a way that everyone's asked, and then the questions kind of get presented to Chansiri before a day, week, whatever, however long before they actually come down, and he can actually look at them and give an actual answer. And then you come to the forum, and then this question's being asked, and it's almost like done. I don't know, Rob Staten does it or whoever, and it's a bit of a interview scenario with a bit of a question and answer after every one, and it's strictly on a bit of a time limit as to not go on and on and on and on, and yeah, maybe use an interpreter as well so you can get your point across a lot easier. But it never happened, and I feel like that kind of plays into his hands a little bit, the way that he does it at the moment, because he does just wear you down, and you get to the point where you can't be arsed anymore. So I suppose it does benefit him doing it like that. But a better run club would probably do it like that. Fans forums aren't new. Other clubs have them, and they seem to operate well. We don't hear about them, which is a start. Where everyone hears about ours. Should be on Paramount, shouldn't it, or Comedy Central or something like that?
I tell you what, if you streamed it, there's another revenue stream for you. I'm just full of ideas for you tonight for revenue streams. Dejpon, sell Gassama, sell Pierce Charles. Let's all chuck it properly off a cliff. Ego, stream your next one. It's a $5 a go. Everybody would be fuming, but I guarantee you about 10,000 people would still pay for it.
Elliot said fans would be listening to more stood under a Pop World PA system.
Right. So for context for this, so there was me, Elliot, and James stood in Pop World at, I don't know, 11:15, which if anybody's thinking that's early, it is. Like, it is fucking early to be stood in a Pop World. And it was as bad as the PA system is at Hillsborough from the away end. Because anybody who's been in that Leppings Lane end this year, away fans, have all said you can't hear yourself think. Like, it's so loud. Exact same thing. Just before we move on, James, I'm just going to pull this one up from Max. It was right at the start. And I know Matt has, for anybody who is looking for kind of like a wider thread on this, or like a longer thread, go to Matt's X page and have a look at it, because he has put like a huge big a huge big tweet in it. It's not like an X post or whatever, but a huge big tweet about it, where he's basically said that the issue for him with the EP is that there are too many groups on it. The groups need to be affiliated to one body, so a trust for argument's sake, so interests are heard, but the one that is FSA backed, which currently is the Supporters Trust, should represent fans because they are supported by a governing body and an organisation outside of it. And I just thought it was worth highlighting. I thought the initial tweet is worth highlighting because it's an interesting topic for discussion.
Yeah, at M Thomas Writes is where you need to go to find all that and have a read. It is quite a long post, so you can check that one out definitely. Let's move on to the protests then, Matt. So the trust had come forward and organised protests for this final home game of the season against Pompey. A march was planned to start at the Crucible, which is the site of the Adelphi Hotel, where obviously Wednesday were formed. March through town, out towards Hillsborough, then obviously into the Hillsborough Park. Picked up a whole host of people in the park. We joined it from the new barrack, and I felt like I was doing a 10K run.
I felt so sorry for your father-in-law, Steve. Who's like
he's got a bit of a limp. The context, he smashed himself up on a motorbike when he was younger, so he has got a bit of a. He can't feel like the bottom of his left leg, so he has.
He was going for it.
Yeah, I would hold back a bit because, but yeah, my watch were going off that new PB for me at 5K time or whatever they were. I feel sorry for the kid who were at front with the hazmat suit on. He must have been absolutely sweating his tits off because I was sweating and I had a jumper on. Anyway, we joined it from there, walked to Hillsborough Corner, then obviously up to the park. What did you make to the march as a whole? Because it was very well received, weren't it? There was a lot of people that turned up.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that turned up. Obviously, you just said that we joined it outside the new barrack and sprinted down to Hillsborough Corner. We got to Hillsborough Corner, and exactly what, I mean, me and you had discussed it privately, I thought would happen, which was you get to Hillsborough Corner and there's people coming out of bars and wandering down, and there's people stood outside, and that gradually swells its numbers. We bumped into Al Wilson yesterday. I tell you what, I'd love to lock Al into a room with Chansiri just for 15 minutes. Oh my word. For those of you who don't know, Al does mixed martial arts. Yeah, my word. I'd love to give him 15 minutes. Anyway, then wandered down to the top of the Hillsborough Park, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was rammed. It was absolutely heaving, like sea of people. And that just grew and grew and grew and grew. It was amazing to see. It was amazing to see. If I think back to, irrespective of what people think about the 1867 group and kind of the protest that they organised, I remember the first time, was it Birmingham, when people held up the yellow leaflets? Was it Birmingham?
It might have been, yeah.
Might have been Birmingham on that Friday night game on Sky. And I remember thinking, there's quite a lot of people who were holding those up. There's quite a lot of people who weren't, but there's quite a lot of people who are holding those up. And then over, obviously, the past couple of weeks, we've seen the Trust come out and ask everybody to turn their back on Chancery, which again has been good over the past couple of weeks. But actually seeing that many people, I think it was Alex Miller who tweeted out a video of going through the park and walking down. It's a 2-minute video and it's just a constant sea of bodies.
Yeah.
Walking the entire way down. Yeah.
I think for me, what were a great touch was obviously setting off from town. And obviously some people said, oh, there's not many people there. And there was never meant to be a lot of people there. It was kind of mainly like people of the trust that were going to do that and march through. But what he did is obviously it gets on socials, pictures are going around there, putting stuff on that it started. And then people see like, it's actually a real thing, this. And then by the time that it gets to the Hillsborough Park, people are obviously having made the way down to the ground or whatever, and then they can think, actually, I will turn up to this because it's actually happening. Whereas other times, when it was someone tried to organise people to go under the south stand, you don't want to. People just naturally don't want to look like a bit of a tit and be the only one that turns up. So, but obviously because they've seen this is happening already and it's already started, and you join it a bit later, there wasn't nobody had that worry of that kind of thing. So I think that was a great idea to do that. I don't think that was the only reason why they did that. I think it was more to, it was the site of where Sheffield Wednesday were formed. Obviously the initial idea was to carry the coffin and stuff, which I guess is why they wanted to start there, that kind of whole story behind it. But yeah, I just thought, other than you having the flare at the side on the side of your neck, I thought the turnout was fantastic. I mean, the other thing as well for me was the age range. There was young kids. I mean, talking like, school children age. There was young adults. There were people our age. There were older than that. There were old age pensioners that were there as well. Do you know what I mean? It was literally a full spectrum of people that turned up. It wasn't just one demographic that had turned up. We weren't just people turn up for a fight or whatever. It was literally everyone. And kind of that's how much it means to people that they're willing to, to potentially go out of their way to join this march going through Hillsborough Park. And I think it was done really, really peacefully. Obviously, we didn't even go. People were saying, "Oh, you should have gone under the stand," but again, that kind of is a bit antagonising. Whereas we just walked to the park near the south stand, so got quite a good picture with the badge in the background and stuff like that. So yeah, I thought it were excellent. Really, I mean. I have seen one comment that I want to mention about the messaging being wrong about toxic club. My thoughts on this is I feel like it's just trying to pick fault in something that doesn't really need to be picked fault in. I mean, I get what someone's trying to say, that there's other people at the club that aren't toxic, but I mean, I'm not being funny. Not one person thought that we were having a go at Doris the tea lady or Kit Man or whoever it may be. Not one person. No, it's not saying that everyone at the club is toxic. It's saying it's the man at the top that is causing the club to be the way that it is. And I don't know. We talk about division and stuff and creating a divide between the fan base, and I feel like that was just trying to ram another wedge like between the fans again and give people an opportunity to be like, yeah, actually, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's right. That we shouldn't be saying that. No, I'm not going to turn up. I'm not going to join in with these protests. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I understand what you mean. I think it was well attended and well organised, as you rightly say, James, because it really was. And as I mentioned, we've come a long way in a short space of time, I think, as a fan base. And you're right. I saw a couple of tweets, to be fair, surrounding kind of like the questioning of that message that was there. And I think it is also important to say, like it was supposed to be a funeral procession and a march and all of the rest of it. And then with everything going on with the Catholic community and obviously the Pope, really, really quick turnaround to come up with a new message and things behind, which again is not easy. Like
the coffin was already there, by the way. It had already been organised and it already turned up. So I don't know what he's done with his cardboard coffin now, but it was.
That's just go down and have a kip in the spare room. Just hilarious. Just go in, get in for the game, and just go, right, I'm done until August.
That shit me misses up that, wouldn't it, if I woke up in one of them?
Just use it as a doorstop or draft excluder. Anything.
Have you seen how big it is? It's massive. I can't use that as a draft excluder. It's bigger than the door. It's huge.
No, for your garage. But I think, like, I agree. I think I would probably suggest that the takeaway there for me from the couple of comments that I saw around it, it felt like it was splitting hairs for the sake of it, really. And the overall message that I took from the slogan or the banner behind the protest, or whatever you want to call it, it's to do with the environment around and inside areas of the club. And it's a culture that's set by the ownership being toxic, which I don't think, from everything, that no matter what kind of corner of the fan base you sit on, I don't think it's really up for debate, is it? Like, you can't say that it's a happy camp. Like, you can't, like, you know, and we were talking, even, I was talking about this with somebody yesterday when me and you sat on here at the end of August and praying for Mason Holgate to sign. We knew then it wasn't a happy camp behind the scenes, because Danny, at that point where he was committed to staying, he just signed a 3-year deal, all the rest of it. He was coming out and saying, look, we needed players and we haven't got them. Like, we're just going to have to work with what we've got.
Someone made a great point that the amount of information that's coming out of the club is from people that work there. So if it was happy, why would they be doing that? Why is there all these, all these whistleblowers? Is that the right term, whistleblower? I think it is, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, there wouldn't be any, would they, if it was happy? So yeah, there's clearly problems. But yeah, Chansiri wasn't there at the game yesterday. His family was, or what we perceived to be his family. I mean, Chansiri wasn't there from what I can gather. I think people have done sort of a bit of digging, and they said that his brother was there, who is Thirupong Chansiri, which is apparently the vice chair of Thai Union Group. I've certainly not the people that were there. I've certainly not noticed them before, and they're all togged up in the brand new Wednesday shirts. Didn't have it on a stick. They weren't waving it above the red or anything like that. But they did have it was this season's shirt. But yeah, I suppose it sends. Can we read too much into that? The fact that Dejpon wasn't there. I mean,
I'm gonna very tinfoil that 3D chess, like, pinboard behind me with like photos and red string everywhere. My reading of that was, we know the club with the upcoming football regulator who's coming in, we know the club have to submit financial models for the next 12 months for sustainability. Otherwise, a regulator can step in. And I think, again, it's all set to be confirmed, obviously, over the summer and into the start of the year. They can start looking at what they're doing at Reading, which is stripping an owner, like, away from a football club. I wonder if that yesterday was a delegation of people like his brother and people around him who are actually coming and going, right, how bad is it? Because if you were looking to assess it, and I'm not talking about books, I'm talking about the 28, quote unquote, 1,000 customers who were there yesterday. Is this salvageable? Like, genuinely, is this something that is worth? Because they are going to have to chuck money in. There's no, whether it be a new owner, whether it be the Chansiri family, whatever, you are going to have to chuck money in if you're looking at taking this in a different direction. If you just want to carry on doing the same, just leave Dejpon there. Just leave your younger brother to fuck it up. And then when you go back to your parents, you're like, look at me. Aren't I wonderful? But I looked at it and thought, is this that particular party? Because they didn't stay for the full game, did they? They left
75 minutes, something like that. I think they disappeared.
Whisked off onto a coach to never be seen again, potentially. But is this them being sat there and thinking, right, are we going to actually financially bail him out here or not? Like, and actually weighing it up of how angry are these? And if you're looking for that, couldn't have picked a better day. Because that, I would argue, is the peak of the last 4 months in it yesterday. In terms of actual public fan pressure, that was the peak of it yesterday. I don't know. I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see, because to me, I would have understood if it was, I don't know, his son, his mom, whoever, whatever, like whoever was there, like the normal crowd who turn up every, when there's a big, quote unquote, big game on, or whether this was people outside of the family going, is it worth it? Is it worth us actually trying one last go at this? And because they've high likelihood, new manager, new coaching staff, new playing staff as well. It's a clean slate from that perspective. And if you come in with somebody with, I say fresh ideas, let's just say ideas.
Ideas, yeah.
Let's just say ideas, still within the family, is this worth, is it actually able for us to salvage? Are we able to turn this around? Or am I now coming in as like his big brother, taking one step at this and going, do you know what? That tap on the shoulder that ex-footballers talk about, like, you get that tap on the shoulder and go, come on, time here. Is it him coming in and going, there's such a mess here, you need to get this solved?
Go on then. This is a question for kind of, well, for you and for everyone, I guess, in the chat, even if you're listening to it after getting involved on X. If say because we saw the TUF logo when Chansiri first takes over, when he's shaking hands with Milan Mandaric, it's all plastered all over with the old Wednesday badge in the background. Never seen it since at all. It's not even been on the shirt. It's been nowhere. I've never seen that logo at all. So let's say that Thai Union Foods do come in and, I don't know, there's a restructure or whatever, they put money in or however it may be, and there is a plan put in place, and we appoint a CEO and we appoint a director of football. We do all those sort of things. Would people be happy with that? Would fans be happy? So would you be happy with that, Matt, if that happened? Chansiri is still the owner, or Thai Union Foods come in and he's still there. The Chansiri family is still there, but we have all this plan. Seemingly, they've got a lot more money than what Chansiri's got. Would you be happy with that, or as the ship sailed for you?
To borrow an overused phrase by myself, you've got no rope to hang yourself with. You've got absolutely none. Like a lot of people go, oh, you've got a lot of rope kind of like there, like to kind of like play with, which a new owner would have. We spoke about it last week. If a new owner comes in, and thank God we're not currently under an embargo, who knows, we may wake up tomorrow in one, but like, we're not currently under an embargo, we're not currently under tax restrictions or anything like that. A new owner comes in and they can have 18 months of clear runway, and they can blame it on everybody else. I would argue, if it stays within the family, am I prepared if somebody comes in and there is a complete sea change to the way that this is done? And you look at, they basically not bow to the demands of the fans, because I don't think fans running the club is the way forward. I look at it and go, do they have plans in place for a new training ground? Do they have redevelopments to Hillsborough? Do they invest in a team? Do they go out and get a potentially a new exciting coach if one's needed, or you go out and get experience? Do you go out and play fees? Do you start having a very open dialogue and you start doing open messages? It's kind of suck it and see, because at this point in time, we mentioned it, not 20, 25 minutes ago. He has no intention of selling. That's what he has publicly said. Now, I don't believe that bullshit. Like, I think that's crap, but he has no publicly, he has no intention of selling. The next best thing to that is, if he's not going to sell, is somebody else in the family comes and takes it off him and goes, right, we're gonna run this from somewhere else. Would I be happy, James? Long answer. No, I wouldn't. No, genuinely, I wouldn't. The reason why I wouldn't is because I think we are too far down the line now for actually to be able to say something goes wrong. Like something, it's football. Something is bound to go wrong in the next 12 months. Everybody will just turn back on it, and it will just become a constant pile-on. And it just becomes, we're just going to drag up all the other, he's as bad as his brother, he's this. And I think it just needs a complete wiping and a fresh start now. Had this been 4 years ago, I think it's salvageable. Like, genuinely, I just think that there's too much anger and too much animosity now, and so much distrust that particular family will never, and they may be here for the next 20 years. I might be talking out my arse here, but if they're here for the next 20 years, you're always going to have elements of the fan base who deeply, deeply mistrust everything that comes out of the club because of the mess that Deshpond's made of it.
Yeah, there's a few comments. Chef Cam said it's like when a kid wants a pet dog and then the dad ends up walking it in the pissing rain.
Yeah.
One from Jason said it's gone too far for TUF to be involved in the club. Jodes, no, I want him gone. Gavin says no. Stannington says nope. Chansiri has to go. He's just toxic. Amber, no, he needs to go. Thai Union won't bail him out. He's nowhere on their website. John, I'd take TUF as long as DC has no involvement, but ideally new owners. Yeah, Kevin said they were there to do a litmus test. Probably, yeah. And I mean, I bet they thought, oh, it's a great atmosphere. All these balloons. This looks fantastic, this.
Because the other person who was there with that delegation was everybody's favourite shrouded in mystery Sheffield Wednesday related man, Amadou Pakshaw, as well. He was another one who was sat there. And again, it's all of that just... You do just look at it, don't you? And you just think there's so much that even him, who is just an advisor and he takes out a salary from the football club, allegedly, like even he is somebody who Sheffield Wednesday well, you've got to point to him. You've got to point to him because he spent 10 years spinning this web of shit. Like absolute garbage that I can't, I'm not going to say I sit here and disagree with anybody who says, no, I want him gone completely, because I genuinely fully appreciate that.
I do feel like we are at the point where it does need to be clean slate. And like you said there, we will give them quite a lot of wiggle room and leeway. And you don't have to do many good things. I mean, Christ, Chansiri put a £5 meal deal on and people let him off for not paying players. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you don't have to do a lot for us to be like, oh, wow. It's kind of like Cisco Munoz and Danny Röhl in it. You know what I mean? Danny Röhl came in. We lost the first 2 or 3 games. We're the 4th game until we actually won a game against Rotherham.
Yeah,
we
lost at Watford. I then think it was then an international break, or we had Watford at home the next week, because then it was. I remember after that we didn't win for a few after or we didn't win for a few after that, or something like that.
Yeah, but the point I'm making, it didn't come in and we didn't go 5 wins on the bounce. You know, we a few games without winning one, first of all, and then obviously when we did get that win, it were great. But what I'm saying is that Watford game we lost, but I don't think we even scored a goal. But we're like, wow, the difference is just amazing. You can see what they're trying to do, and that's the point I'm making with when a new owner comes in. All they have to do is a few different things. Just update. Christ. For Lee's sake, just update the sign on the mega store, for crying out loud, like, and then that'll sort Lee out. There's a few little things that you can do, and then we'll be loving it. We'll be like, he's the best owner we've ever had since, I don't know, whoever the best owner has been. Do you know what I mean? Like, and we'll love it. So it wouldn't take much at all.
Sorry, James, just before we move on, because I know we're going to get onto the members of parliament here, just very, very briefly.
Yeah.
We are going to touch on, I'm sure you usually do this link, James, but I'll do it now. We are going to touch on the Simon Jordan comments on Extra Time, so please head over to Patreon. There's a 7-day free trial for anybody who is thinking about signing up, obviously. I'll be honest, the name that was obviously mentioned there, if anybody watched the boxing, you'll have seen him yesterday. If he comes in as a new owner, I'm going to have an awful lot of questions, and that won't be football related. That will be to do with everything else that individual has been accused. And it is accusations. It is accusations. It's very, very difficult to prove. But I would sit here and me and you would sit here, and I would sit here and have a big ethical debate with you surrounding sports washing.
Yeah.
So but we would give that owner more leeway. You're right. We would give that owner more leeway than we would do if it was.
It's just been so bad. It's just been so bad at the moment. I mean, so to answer my question, if Thai Union Foods came in, I think initially, I suppose if they had some sort of a plan, it would be better. But I do agree with what you're saying, though. As soon as it goes wrong, they're not hiding to nothing, really, because
100%.
They'd have to put a lot of money in. And as you mentioned, as soon as one thing goes wrong, which might even be out of their control, but we're going to, as a fan base, we're going to come down on like an absolute ton of bricks, and it's just going to be not really worth it for them at all. Whereas someone else comes in, they go, that's not my shit. Like that, that's someone else's problem. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to fix it. I'm not, I didn't create this mess. Whereas they don't really have that excuse. Quickly, the MPs, the Sheffield MPs, come out and have said that they would get involved in this situation. I will read quickly the statement that they put out. Sheffield Wednesday Football Club is an important part of our city's culture and heritage, and we're determined to work with all involved to ensure the club endures. We support the fans' right to peacefully protest and voice their legitimate concerns. Ultimately, they want what is best for the club, as do we. It goes on to say, as Sheffield MPs, we have met with the Wednesday supporters' trust, and we understand the strength of feeling and their passion for the club. We'll be writing to the chairman with the aim of opening up better communication channels to ensure that constructive and positive discussions can be held to find a long-term solution to the current situation. How big is this, Matt? Or is it big or not at all?
I think it's almost like I saw this as very much it's a setup. Like it's a setup for something that's further down the line. So if we get to the stage where the independent regulator has to step in, then yes, this becomes very, very big, as there will be widespread public and private pressure from members of parliament, one of whom obviously is very, very, all of these have a very heavily vested interest in the success of two Sheffield clubs for the city as a whole. I was speaking to a United fan. Oh God, honestly, sorry. I was speaking to a United fan yesterday when we originally got to Heist, and he was saying he was much older. He was about my dad's age, so sort of like I'd said early 70s, and he was saying it'd be great for the city. Can you imagine if you had two Premier League sides? Can you imagine what it would do for the city and the regeneration and potential investment that would come in if you had two sustainable Premier League clubs? I look at it and just think, you know what? At this point in time, and until the point if we get to an independent football regulator needing to step in, it's nice to be nice, I suppose. That every set of eyes and media outlets seem to be talking about us at the minute in some way, shape, or form or capacity. Like Henry Winter came out yesterday as the march was kind of like taking hold and put a huge piece out, which was really, really good as well. Like I think it was a tweet, it was on X, but it was a massive, massive thread, which was really, really good. That's great. The MPs, in my opinion, until it becomes a parliamentary issue like a football regulator, this is just positioning yourself for if it goes that way.
Yeah, just kind of saying we're aware of it, kind of thing. Because for me, it's just more noise, like a good noise as well. Yeah. I don't mean noise as in like detracting. It's actually, it's just showing him that we're not going away. It's the fans, it's the MPs, it's media, it's journalists. I'm sure Leighton Palmer will be having a say on it at some point as well. It's just more people having a go at him that he's just. You just can't get them away. There's too many fights to fight, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And he can't fight them all, and they're coming at him at all different angles. And hopefully, it gets to the point where he just thinks, like, enough is enough, as the tagline goes. And obviously, that's enough is enough for us. But I'm hoping that he kind of says that, and he thinks, you know what, I will just sell it to someone, and I'll move on, kind of thing. Obviously. Yeah, as you've just pulled up there, Flash, obviously he was out there yesterday, so nice to meet you. Clive Betts is one of the MPs, Wednesday fan, and in charge of the independent football regulator. Yes, he was one of the people that in that meeting as well. So yeah, it can only be a good thing, as you mentioned, more eyes on, more exposure on it all. Should we talk quickly about the match? Quickly.
Yes, what a on the beach flip-flops on game that was yesterday. My goodness me. The only I tell you what, James, the two things were obviously the Callum Patterson goal, but the other one is what a footballer Shea Charles is. Irrespective of what happens at the awards, and irrespective of how heartbreaking it is going to be watching him pull on a red and white shirt.
I am not mentally prepared for that happening next season, by the way. I've not prepared myself at all. Like it's just going to look weird. I know he's pulled on a red and white shirt before. We've played against him, but like now, I'm not prepared for it to happen.
But he obviously pre-game it was announced that he'd won Player of the Year, deserved. I can't like other years you can make an argument for somebody else. This year there is no other argument. In anybody who has a a working set of kind of like legs, arms, eyes, body, functioning brain to be able to take yourself to the football and enjoy it, they will tell you that he's the best footballer that is at this football club at present. And he's, in my opinion, I think he's, I know he hasn't got into team of the season this year. I think he's, if he's not in the first 11, he's on the subs bench.
Can I tell you something else that hasn't happened at the EFL Awards? Windas hasn't won goal of the season as well, by the way.
Do we know who won it? Because
George Abbott from Notts County. So basically, it's a cut. Yeah, it's a good goal. It's a corner that comes in and it goes deep, and he runs onto it from the edge of the box, and he's only probably 12 yards out. He's hit a volley and it's onto the top bins. It's a great goal, but I would argue that Michael Smith against Portsmouth is better than that goal.
Yeah, I thought it should have been the who was it? Was it the Oxford goal? I thought the Josh Windas one is absolutely sublime. Obviously, I thought the Oxford goal should have won it personally, because there was three goals. One that the Oxford one is long ball up, and it's only because of the setup for the goal, because it's a forward who chests it down to a player and he hits it on the volley, but he's in the air, looping, moving away from the goalkeeper. When they put the 3 goals up earlier, it was earlier today, wasn't it? They put the 3 goals up, and I thought, well, the Windas one will win it, and I'm astounded that it didn't. First one, I thought, yeah, good strike. Second one, I thought, yeah, that'll win goal of the season, Josh Windas. Third one, I was like, no, for me, visually, like aesthetically pleasing, that's the goal for me.
Yeah, well, it's nice. The Notts County one that's won it.
No,
so
finished third as well, wasn't it?
Can't win out, can Wales? Most hard done to fan base in world as Wednesday nights. Why always me? I'm gonna have that T-shirt. Why always us? Why always us?
Just with Windas hitting it from the halfway line.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, the game, it was just same old. Like you watch that game, and that's literally just what's been happening all season. Some good football, dominating possession at times. We had a lot of the ball. At times, Pompey was set up in a bit of a low block, and we tend to struggle to break teams down. We just looked, certainly in the second half, looked kind of devoid of any sort of creativity and idea. Really, we didn't really know what to do. I mean, even a Rabona didn't even work, did it?
Don't start me on that, James. Jan Valery posting the first one of like his Instagram photos of a Rabona that hit a player 4 yards from him in the fucking shins. Like it wasn't like it's been nodded clear.
Look good though. The picture looks good. So I mean,
fair looks a belter.
Yeah, but yeah, just struggled to break him down. It's just the final third again. We get into that final third, and we just can't really put them away. I mean, credit where credit's due. We scored fairly early doors. Great goal, fantastic pass by Pierce Charles. Yeah. Now, you can argue everything about his height and everything else, and his ability to command the area from a set piece or a corner. The one of the reasons why he's in there, one is his shot stopping, because it's fantastic. The other one is his ability to pick out a pass in the way that he did yesterday for that goal. That pass straight into the feet of Windas. He turned, and that's it. The attack started. I do think we're a bit fortunate. Armstrong's having a shot, I think. It certainly looks like he's having a shot anyway. Gets it a little bit wrong. And I think Pato, again, don't catch it cleanly. Hits it into the ground. I mean, I know they do teach you to do that. So apologies if he comes out and says, I did actually mean to do that. It looks like he skewed it a bit. And it's popped up into the top corner. Very reminiscent of Wigan.
Yeah,
that was very similar.
That Wigan, I tell you what, that Wigan one is better than that Notts County goal, by the way. That Callum Patterson one from the edge of the area, half volley, that's better than that Wigan one. Yeah. No, I agree with you. The thing that I think, two things to take away from the game yesterday for me were Shea Charles is an unbelievable footballer. And the second one for me is how neat and tidy Stuart Armstrong is. And actually, if you're looking to have a elder statesman player, or two of them in Bannon and Armstrong next year, let's hope Baz resigns as well, because I think that would be sad for him to go out with no real fanfare about it. If both of those were to be there, and you place two kids, two young lads around them who do all of their running, win the ball back and give it to those two players, whoever's on the park at once, I don't think you'd be far wrong with that midfield. Because I think Stuart Armstrong is, from what we've seen of him, yes, he should have scored at Burnley, but he never gives the ball away, ever. He always retains possession, and consistently, we spoke about it last week, James. You were getting very irate about decision making last week. 9 times out of 10, he makes the right decision every time.
Could you see Bannon and Armstrong doing a bit of a job share next season? We've seen it with other players where they, you hear them, they go, oh, they don't play midweek games, they only play weekend games. Could we see a situation where, because you could, I don't think Armstrong's got quite the same level of creativity as what Barry Bannon does, an impact on a game, but we're seeing Bannon now, pulling up with a few injuries. He's be another year older. If he does stay for next season, I think they could probably do. Not playing both at the same time, but as you mentioned there, play one of them with a kid alongside and kind of swap Bannon for Armstrong and keep it rotating around like that.
I agree. I think you have to play a 3 in the middle next year because I think Shea Charles has been that good. He's actually masked a lot of what has gone on. If you think about that run where we were playing Bannon and Charles next to one another, I mean, Shea Charles got through. Bannon gets through an awful lot of running for not just for his age, but still for like most players in the division. I don't know whether it's just his legs or not, and they're so little and they just look like they're going at 100 mile an hour all the time. But I think you've got to play a 3, and I think you've got to protect those 2 players because currently, with I know we're going to come on to Josh Windas. With Josh Windas exiting the football club, those are your 2 most creative players in a central area for Sheffield Wednesday now. Those are the 2 most creative players. I'm assuming, obviously, Bannon signs again.
Yeah. What about this comment then from George? I hope to see Sean Fisher next season in midfield.
He's got to start. I mean that really nicely. And this is, myself and Elliot have a huge love him for Sean Fisher. He has to start next year. Like, why not? He's gone and played at Carlisle. It took him a while to get into the team, but he has got into the team and he's made an impact for Carlisle. Like, he has made a difference from them. If you listen to kind of like what their supporters have had to say about him, why not? Like, now is the perfect time. There's no investment currently. There's no investment coming in. You're going to struggle to go out and bring quality in because if you are, and we haven't even touched on this, James, I know we will do over the summer, but if you are an out-of-contract player, Sheffield Wednesday is your last place, unless you're, of course, Jamie Vardy, who's going to come and play for a packet of chocolate buttons. Why on earth would you sign for us? Your wages might not get paid. You don't know who your manager's going to be. You've got a fan base who will back those 11, 15 players, however many kind of like are used over the course of a game, for 90 minutes away from home because the atmosphere at Hillsborough is appalling and has been consistently all season. Why, unless this is a last resort, do you sign here? So what that reeks to me of is, guess what? We're going to have a lot of players coming in midway through pre-season, and we've seen how that's gone this year.
Yeah, EQ, but he's the prime example on that one.
Yeah.
So a few comments out. Sarah said, don't think my emotions can take Shea going. Him at the back and Pearce in goal would have been dynamite next season. Wish we had the pennies to buy him. Matt said he's the best footballer we've had for years, to be honest. And then, Mad Ward says, never fall in love with a lone player. Annie has also said, Shea Charles is such an asset and one to watch going forward. Yeah, he's 21 years old. He's one of them players where Freddie's only 4. He's not been to many games. And if he has, he's not going to remember anyone. I'm going to be saying to him, in like 5 or 6 years' time, like, that when you're watching Match at Day, that Shea Charles there, he was Sheffield Wednesday made him. Back in 2025, and watching him play for, I don't know, it may be Arsenal or whoever in the Premier League.
And that's it. He is the player who, I mean, I'm really disappointed the fact that we haven't come up against Mikel Antonio since he's gone on to be successful in the Premier League. Yeah. Because I think if Mikel Antonio ever came back to Hillsborough with West Ham after he's gone on to do what he's doing, can you imagine the reception he'd get? Oh my God, it'd be like a king's ransom coming home. Just well done, come on in.
The red carpet would be rolled out for him, wouldn't it, to be fair?
My goodness me, would it? And it would be the exact same with this kid when Man City or Chelsea or Arsenal, because realistically, I know me and you spoke about it before, James, that's where I see his ceiling being. He's a top 6 in the Premier League player if he's smart with the moves in his career. Like, he moves at the right time. My personal belief is if I were him, I would be looking to get Southampton to sell me next year. I would be looking to move to a West Ham or an Everton or a Bournemouth or Wolves, a side that's in no real danger, because the 3 who've gone up, apologies to anybody who is listening, the 3 who go up by the end of the year, you'll all be straight back down. Burnley will be straight back down. The only one, in my opinion, who's got a hope of staying up is Leeds, and that's just because of the external investment that they've got. if you go to one of those clubs and he has 2-3 years there, guess what? Somebody in that top 6 will go, yep, he's ours.
Yeah, let's talk about the Pompey goal then quickly. Valerie gives the ball away cheaply, misplaced pass. Then Murphy gets it. Obviously, the brother of Jacob Murphy. I thought he was excellent, by the way. And you know, I'm looking at him and thinking, if we had a bit of money, like I'd be looking to sign him for next season because he did look good. He knew how to get a ball into the box. He knew, he was quite accurate with it as well. I mean, this was another one. And if you watch the goal scorer, he just gets in front of Johnson, who makes, by the way, zero attempt to actually get on goal side. I mean, he's out of position, but for a reason, because we've got possession of the ball, and he's looking to get down that left-hand side. The other lad's more central, and obviously everything's kind of shifted across to his left. So he recognises the danger, but then it gets behind him, and then just thinks, fuck it, I'm not try. I don't know whether they're thinking I don't want to play him on side or whatever. You've got to get around him to block the cross, and it just does neither. And it's a good cross. It's a finish from point blank range.
Yeah.
But Pompey just basically showed how easy football can be if you just play it like that, basically.
Yeah, agreed. Josh Murphy was available on a free last year. Portsmouth were the only side he took him. He went from Oxford, didn't he? He didn't re-sign at Oxford and went to Portsmouth. But I will also say nobody was clamouring for his signature. He's had a fantastic season. I would be very surprised if somebody doesn't come in for him, or he might just sit here and go, do you know what? I found a bit of a home here in Portsmouth. Yeah,
could do.
I'll tell you what, that's a ball ache for his family, and one in Newcastle, one in Portsmouth. My gosh, that's a lot of travel. But I agree with you. It's very simple. There was a couple of players yesterday, and I'm not going to single anybody out because it's pointless doing it now. There were a couple of players yesterday who, for the first time, I think in a couple of weeks, looked like I'm not going into that. I'm not getting injured here. Which again, with how everything's played out, I get it. Like I do, I get it.
Yeah, definitely. Let's just read out some of the 3-word match reviews then, as we always do. Rob said Chansiri sell up. Matt's gone with good second half. Neil, new owner, please. Ben says the protest was good. Tim says season's nearly finished. One more game to play. Scott, auf Wiedersehen, Danny. Richard sums up season. Steve couldn't finish dinner, and Rob's gone with baffling selections again. I don't think Joe, I thought this was a dead rubber. I mean, we haven't even got into Watford, which is the deadest of dead rubbers you'll ever see in your ever dead rubber in life.
Do you know what, James? That's got 4-4 written all over it.
It has, and it'll be an absolute thriller. Might have to actually talk about a football match next week. But yeah, just on that, auf Wiedersehen, Danny. I left straight after the final whistle because we had going out for beers and what have you, more important things. Apparently, he did he bowed, and by all accounts, he was tearing up whilst he was on the pitch. He's couple that with the comments that he made in the pre-match press conference as well. If you had any doubt that whether you thought he was or wasn't going, he's going. Yeah,
he is. His intentions are not to be here in August or come day one postseason finishing. Right, see you later. That's his intention. At present, he's under contract. At present, nobody's made a formal bid and nobody's met the valuation of him. So until that point, he'll still be here. The only reason I say all of this, James, is because I know I spoke to you in the week about it. Ben, who did the West Brom preview, is a close mate of mine. Carlos Corberán did all of this last year. Threw his bottom lip out at the end of the season last year after they got knocked out in the playoffs by Southampton. Desperate for this, desperate for that. And then guess what? Come August, he was still here. Now, I know he left, October, and he's done fantastically since he's gone to his next club. Strange things happen in football. Now, I think this is as nailed on can be, that he will be a manager of an opposition club in the same division as Sheffield Wednesday next year in Southampton, which, by the way, if you listen to Southampton fans, ain't going to be an easy job because there's an awful lot wrong there. However, I agree with you. I think in his mind is made up. Like, his mind is made up. This is a really interesting comment from Jason. Will he stay if we get new owners? My personal belief is no. I think he from what I have taken from him in the past couple of weeks, and since obviously we've kind of like petered off and tailed off towards the end of a season, what I've taken from him is he feels his job is done here and he needs a move. That's what I take from that. I feel he's done 18 months here. He's given, to be fair, aside from the last couple of weeks, I think he's given absolutely everything emotionally. And he's sacrificed an awful lot in his personal life to be at this football club and to take the opportunity. And I do think we deserve some credit as well, because there's not many clubs that somebody would have given him a job sooner or later, but we actually took the chance on him. I think he just sees it as this is done now.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I don't think we get new owners quick enough. Even if discussions started now, I don't think you purchase a football club in enough time for him to have not already made a decision. And judging by his comments on the pre-match press conference as well, he has already made his decision and he has told the club or Chansiri what his decision is. So, and on that, people are saying, his decision could be that he wants to stay. It could be, but if it was that, knowing the fan base, how he does, and the connection that he has got with the fan base, he wouldn't be giving such cryptic messages. He would be saying, I'm already planning for next season. I'm already doing X, Y, and Z, and I will be here come, the first game of next season. And everyone's like, oh, a relief. He didn't come out and say that. Just like Chansiri didn't come out and say that I've got money to pay for X, Y, and Z either. Like, they've had opportunities to say these things and they've chosen not to, which, you're reading between the lines is going. But
I agree with you, James. And I know we're going to come on to two more things, obviously, before we wrap up. But just on that, I think when we inevitably have to do the Danny's left, what now pod.
Emergency pod, by the way, whenever it happens.
Emergency pod, just sat there, just crying.
Just for full disclosure, I've actually got some notes already written up when that happened. I've been fully prepared since about January.
Since December 4th, when the Southampton bid was turned down.
I think keep updating it with the stats.
But I look at that and think, I think that is the time then to properly do a good, bad, and ugly. Because I do think that, and again, I know there's bigger problems than Danny Röhl at this football club. Let's be completely fucking honest about that.
Yeah.
He is, pardon the pun, he's no saint in all of this. He's learned how to play the game. And do I think he should have ever been in that fucking situation? Of course not. It's the owner above him who's made a horrendous working environment for him. But I think since that contact in December, if you're looking at a very overused phrase in football, head was well and truly turned.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And I've seen a lot of people saying that he's not covered himself in much glory. And whilst, I do agree, form has dropped off you massively.
Yeah.
But again, if things were right behind the scenes, you'd be more inclined to carry on, and your head perhaps wouldn't be as turned as much. Because I feel like, Sheffield Wednesday on an upwards trajectory. Like, it's only kind of now where we've fell off that since January, which you could argue is down to him. Partly. But we said that we were massively punching well above his weight this season, being where we were. So if in January we had got a centre back and a striker, a similar ilk to a Shea Charles, or slightly less than, we would have been top 6 or thereabouts. You certainly wouldn't be having a dead rubber against Watford to finish in the top 12, the top half of the league. We'd be having, we'd be like a Blackburn are now. Do you know what I mean? Like just in with a shout.
Yeah.
And if it got, plans of your summer budget is going to be X, Y, and Z, and we've moved players on and all that sort of stuff. If all these things would have happened, I do genuinely believe that even if Southampton would have come in, I think Danny Röhl would be like, well, fans love me here.
Yeah.
Why do I need to leave? I've nearly got him into the playoffs, so I could get him into the playoffs. And then the next thing is you're thinking, if we carry on this upward trajectory, we're going to finish in the top 2 next season. I'm getting well ahead of myself. But as a manager like Danny Röhl coming in, he would probably think that, and his stock would be getting higher and higher and higher as we go along. But the simple fact of the matter is, he's not being given that. He's not being given the money to spend in January. We didn't get those players in January, and we're now mid-table and everyone hates the chairman. So he's whilst I agree that he's not he's not come out of it as a saint. Use your words.
Yeah.
I
have a lot of sympathy.
Yeah,
I have a lot of sympathy for why, and I understand why. I'm not saying that the way in which he's acted and conducted himself potentially in every single aspect is right, but I fully understand as to why it's turned out this way, and it's not him.
Yeah. Dave says, I saw Danny in the car park before the game and got a picture. I told him, please don't leave the club, and he just smiled. So,
that's it. That's it, Davey. Stay in. Come on.
Matt says it's a sad indictment of how far we have fallen as a club when Southampton can turn our manager's head. I remember when they bolstered their squad with our aging players like Hurst and Palmer. We were that far ahead of him. I thought that was such a weird time because that is literally a Wednesday kit, just in red and white. With the Sanderson logo and the Puma Sanderson logo. Yeah. It was literally just if you just change the hue on Photoshop.
I wonder if you can go back and see if the kits that then were Sheffield Wednesday kits were about 25 quid more expensive than Southampton, or were they all the same price? Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, let's quickly talk about Josh then. His dad leaked this. Well, to be fair, he leaked this himself first.
No, he didn't. It's not him. Sorry. It's not him on LinkedIn. It's not him.
Definitely is.
You cannot come out and say that, and then 2 days later, your dad, who's on a golf course, comes out and goes, "Yeah, he's off."
Yeah. Anyway, what we are referring to is his dad Dean Windas posted a video on his X account on Thursday where he said, and I quote, "I'll be going to watch Josh in his final game at Hillsborough, see what the next chapter in his life is. You've got to make tough decisions in life." It does not take a detective to work out that yes, Josh will be leaving in the summer. Just a few numbers. Signed him in January 2020 on loan, made it permanent in the summer. He's made 181 appearances from midfield, 52 goals and 23 assists. Obviously, still got one game to go, so he could add to that number. Are you okay with him leaving on a free at the end of this season?
I think time's come for both parties. Like, there's no hard feelings whatsoever. Will be welcome back at Sheffield Wednesday. Has written himself into history and folklore with the Barnsley goal, but also some of the other goals that he scored have been absolutely spectacular. I think in particular the Blackburn away last season. Yeah. And he scored a very, very important goal at Sunderland on the last day, first goal to keep us up.
Well, obviously Derby at home, the one from in his own half. Newcastle in the cup as well. Yeah. That was a special night against them. So yeah, there has been. It'll be forever remembered for the right reasons, I feel.
I agree. I think to borrow another overused phrase, time will be a great healer, because I think I get the impression outside looking in that if you looked at when he left Rangers fans felt very similar to what Sheffield Wednesday fans do, in that we appreciated him for what he did. However, they were probably also like, well, do you know what? He can go, he should do more. I very much look at it now and go, we've got it's 5 years, isn't it? It's 5 years worth of service out of him. Near as makes no difference. And we have seen the best or peak of his career in stereotypically that age between 25 to 30, 31. The player is sadly, I still think he's going to play until he's like 37, because my God, is that lad, like, does he look after himself? Really, really does. If I were him, I would be looking to, obviously I know his wife is American, and he spoke about it on the documentary that he released last year. Obviously it's going to be a more somber end, I think, this documentary that comes out this time round. If I were him, I would be looking that my next move is, imagine he goes to Houston Dynamo and signs a 3-year deal there, and he will be legitimately, for a side like that, he will be one of the leading faces in that league for that team, and can go and have a wonderful life on the other side of the world. Why would you turn that opportunity down?
And I think he'll fit right in as well, because he won't be going there as the absolute star player. Do you know what I mean? He'll be one of the better players, but it's not like a marquee signing like a Lionel Messi. Do you know what I mean? No. Where literally all eyes are on and you have got to produce. He'll be coming in as a new signing. Yeah, and I think I think that'll suit him down to the ground. His sort of personality and stuff like that. They'll love him. All the things that we've been talking about. The rodding the fans and stuff like that, and the non-celebrating and they'll love. Like as we mentioned, they'll love all that sort of stuff. I mean, for me personally, it is a shame that it's kind of ending in the way that it is. That a couple of fans have turned and stuff, and we talked all about it in the past couple of weeks. And obviously, it's great that players show this sort of loyalty, and we're blessed that we've had Palmer, Bannon, Windas, Pato, players that have stuck around, because you don't normally see players staying around for that sort of length of time. But as you said as well, I feel like the time has come to kind of to move on. It's a shame that he's going on a free, and we're not we're not selling him for some sort of money. I feel like his time at Wednesday frustrating, because we can see he's got the talent there. This season has been the only season where he's had a fully fit, being fit for the vast majority, if not all of it, I want to say. Yeah. And obviously you see with his numbers, 13 goals. I think that's, correct me if I'm wrong, that's his best return for in blue and white stripes. Yeah. Had he have got those numbers, in some of his other seasons and played, the number of games that he's played this time around, we might be talking about him as one of the best players that's played for Sheffield Wednesday. But unfortunately, he's had too many injuries, and that, I think that's kind of, although it's not necessarily his fault when someone gets injured, fans do look at it as a bit of a negative, don't they?
I agree, James. He's capable of producing moments that take your breath away, and his footballing intelligence for players at this level at the Championship, and certainly League One. Him and Bannon were on a different planet in League One. He's capable of those moments that you do sit there, like that Derby goal, like everybody in this set. Wow. If he was, and I don't feel I'm being overly harsh here, if he was capable of producing those performances on a more consistent and regular basis, and it wasn't like a flash of brilliance, he would legitimately be one of the best players in this division and playing top level football more than likely. The fact of the matter is, I feel that we have got the best out of Josh Windas at different points, and he has had he's had a really difficult time here. Because if you actually look at his spell was come in a relegation threatened season, managed to stay up. We then go down the following season. He's then got 2 years in League One. He's then had 2 seasons fighting off relegation in the Championship, and now a mid-table finish. He's not actually been given weapons or an arsenal, aside from those 2 seasons in League One, and one of those he was injured for an awful lot of it. He's not really had an opportunity to play with players who are, aside from Bannon really, who are on a similar level in terms of creativity to him, because I do think we would have probably got more out of him at that point in time. Again, for me, he will go with best wishes. And again, as you were saying, James, about like the American stuff, I've mentioned it a couple of times. I love it. Like I love the self-confidence. I love the arrogance. I love the belief, however you want to see it. But I understand why it rubs people up the wrong way. Like I do.
Yeah. Matt said, the Americans would actually love his arrogance. It would be a good fit. George said Forestieri was better than Windas. Yeah, well, whilst I agree, but if Windas was fit and played, the same amount of games as what Barry Bannon has done, I don't. Who knows? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, what could he have done? And I mean, probably not as good as Forestieri thinking about it, but still, it would have been a lot. It'd been held in much higher esteem as what he is at the moment.
Do we think that's fair when Forestieri had one good season? Like, really seriously, actually think about it. How many good seasons did he have? I got one. Yeah. Legitimately, I've got one. And don't get me wrong, magical, absolutely magical. But he had a team around him who allowed him and facilitated him to be magical and special. Josh Windas has never had that.
Yeah, that's true. Quickly then, before we wrap things up and move on to extra time, Liam Palmer, another one that's destined to be leaving. His mum's been sharing all the stuff on Twitter and things like that. Do you know what as well? It wasn't, Valerie went off injured, which is a shame. Great that Palmer actually got on the pitch yesterday as well. I don't know if that was kind of going to be pre-planned anyway, that he were going to get on for the last couple of minutes or so, but yeah, great that he came on. 462 games for Sheffield Wednesday. Could be 463 if he plays against Watford next week. 299 in the Championship. It would be great if we could make that to a round number of 300. Some achievement that in the modern day of modern age of football. Not at a top club either. You often see it at a Man United or Man City or whatever when you get these players that just play and play and play. But at a Championship / League One club to have played 462 games is a real good achievement.
Irrespective of what you think on the quality of Liam Palmer, work ethic, dedication to a football club, a dedication to the community that is around the football club as well. This sounds really mental, like letting people know what this football club means to fans and connecting players who do just pass through the football club. He deserves all of the accolades and adulation that he'll get. Will he be forever attached to that moment against Peterborough? Yes, he will. And if you were legitimately, if you were ever picking a Sheffield Wednesday player in this era that chance could have fallen to, I bet you most people wouldn't have picked, I want Liam Palmer finishing that. They wouldn't. But if you'd have put it as an emotional attachment, who do I want finishing that? It's him. It's Liam Palmer. And I think the reason why someone like myself is, I've just been very, to a point, I've been a little bit critical of Josh Windas there in the previous one. The reason why I will never be that way about Liam Palmer is because I think, to be completely honest, I think Liam Palmer is very well aware of his own limitations. Yeah. And he knows what he's good at and he knows what he's capable of. And I think one of the things that I've always thought about Liam Palmer, he doesn't try things that he's not capable of or he stays very firmly within his lane, and he's so dependable and has been dependable for this football club and for fans to fall back on. Genuinely very sad day next Saturday at Watford if it is his last game. Like legitimately very, very sad day for a kid who grew up supporting this football club, came through and has played it. He's, as you said, James, dying breed, this type of a player.
Do you know what? Yeah. Danny needs to start him. Yeah. Really, like someone like that, like I said, it's a dead rubber. He's not shit. Do you know what I mean? He's still played a part in this season. Yep. He needs to start and be captain as well, I feel, on Saturday. I think that'll be a fitting end to his to his Wednesday career, really, and I think it'll be, there could be some tears, but yeah, Chef Cam there, Liam Palmer lived all of our dreams. Loads of love in the comments for Palmer as well. Jason, legend Palmer. Matt says Palms is the one that makes me so sad. Legend is an overused word, but he's a proper Wednesday legend. He is a pure grafter. Chef Cam again, big love to LP. Gavin said I'd class him as a homegrown legend. Yep. Lived all our dreams again. Mr. J. Palmer has been a versatile player as well. How many positions? I can see that actually. Right back, defensive mid, left back, centre mid, left hand side of midfield, right side of midfield, everywhere really.
That's the thing is, James, he come in as a centre midfielder, didn't he? And we converted him to a right back. And
played 205 games at right back, played 75 at centre back, central midfield, only 21. So yeah, he's played majority of his career.
It was Tranmere, wasn't it, where he went on loan and he played a full season in centre mid for Tranmere. And then came back to us, and all of a sudden we went, no, right back. We almost did like a swap with him and Kieran Lee, and we realised Kieran Lee's a much better centre midfielder and you're a much better right back, so we'll do a trade with the both of you. Again, limitations as a footballer you can speak on, but for Liam Palmer, it's a conversation that isn't even worth having, because again, a fantastic footballer for this football club. And again, the comments that people have put in there give you an indication of just how loved he is by fans of this football club.
Just quickly, he's 33, turns 34 in September this year. Do you think he retires? Do you think he goes on to play somewhere else? What do you think he's going to do?
I think he has 3 more years of playing football. I think he's got more football left in him. Do I think he's enough to, we were talking about Stuart Armstrong and Bannon playing week in, week out. Do I think he's got enough to play Saturday, Tuesday again? He might have 1 season of that in him. He's definitely got 2, if not 3 footballing seasons within him. Where he ends up, I'd imagine stays local just because of obviously how connected he is. It wouldn't surprise me to see him at like a Bradford or a Doncaster. I know a lot of people have made the Doncaster connection. I know they've just gone up. I don't know whether it would be as an attractive proposition now. I think for me, I looked at Bradford and just went, that seems... You're still going to get the... apologies to any... why would any Doncaster Rovers fans be listening? You're still going to get that feel of playing for a club with the stature and the size of a Wednesday, but there is going to be a little less that's expected of you. And Tony here actually has given a really, really interesting shout. Port Vale.
Yes, get the band back together.
Fuck it, do it. Do you know what? Fuck it. If I'm refunding my season ticket at Hillsborough, I'm not. But if I was, I'll go to Port Vale.
Yeah, get Pato in there as well. Just get them all down there. It'll be Wednesday.
For Bannon's off down there playing on that beach. Go on, boys.
Yeah, I mean, great for Darren Moore as well, and George Byers, of course, getting promotion. Right, let's wrap things up there. Massive thanks again for everyone that's been watching this evening. Do really appreciate it. Are we at 2,000 subscribers? I don't know yet. If we're not, hit subscribe. We were 20 off before this video started. So if you haven't already subscribed, please do hit that button and get us over that 2,000 mark. We are going to be talking about the comments from Simon Jordan and touching on it, but also kind of what would that mean if an absolute Goliath with all this money came in and took Sheffield Wednesday over? What would that mean to the club, the city, and all that sort of stuff? And also touching on the night out that we had last night, a few funny moments that happened. So if you want to listen to that one, we'll be 10 minutes time. The link is over on Patreon, patreon.com/WTRD pod. You have to be a North Stand member as well. There's a free trial. So if you want to listen to that, head over there right away. But thank you very much, everyone. And we'll see you all next time. Cheers.